We're have fun. We're going to talk about our favorite things.
Yeah.
And speaking of, I shouldn't say. I don't know. Your book is good, but also so harrowing. Shoot Me in the Face on a Beautiful Day, which is such a such a gripping title. Every time I see it, it pops up. I'm like, that's what a crazy title, but it gets your attention, which is, I guess, is the idea.
Yeah, it worked.
It does. It does. It does work. I mean, as well as that, the excellent cover.
Thank you. It's by Matthew Revert. I love his covers.
Yeah, it's really striking. Immediately grab, again, the cover and the title immediately grab people's attention. People take note out there. People ask about, why is my cover not good? I'm like, does it look like a horror cover? Does it immediately grab people's attention, etc.? Incredibly harrowing, incredibly good, rough. It's a rough read at times. I mean, intentional. So that's what I want, though. I think that a lot of people listening, that is what they want. They want something that's going to challenge them, which I think this is, that your book is, I think, challenging, right? It feels like I ran a marathon after I feel like I wasn't actually sweating, but it felt like I was going through it. I mean, I don't want to, again, I try not to spoil books, but it really hard. Some of the questions will tiptoe around stuff, but
yeah,
my
people
first question
read
is,
it first. Just read it first.
yeah, exactly. That is always my advice. I'm like, as soon as you see me feature a book, just go read that book. I would not feature the book if I didn't think it was worthy for people to want to go spend their money on it.
Yeah, this one's hard to talk about without spoiling, I would say, too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like some things are, once you're, I feel like I always say the first third of the book, first third of a story, people are like, why'd you give that away? I'm like, it's revealed in the second chapter. I don't know. Like, you're going to be 15 minutes into a read and know this fact. I don't think it's a big spoiler to tell it to the public. You have to try and sell your book too. You have to describe it. You're like, what is the book about? It's great. Well, yeah.
Just read it and find out.
Well, the people who do this, they haven't tried to sell things. They don't understand. Like, it's really difficult to do without giving some stuff. My first question is
elevator pitches. That's like the hardest thing in the world. I'm like, I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I the blurb on, on Amazon or wherever, I think is effective, and I think tiptoes that line, right, of like, give some information about the book without spoiling. I don't know. Okay, well, let's just get my questions. My questions are all about this stuff anyway. My first question is very, I don't know, nuts and bolts, very mechanical, but it's about structure.
Okay.
About the way this book is laid out, because it bounces between perspective characters. We always return to Birdie.
Mm-hmm.
She's there throughout the entire book. She's a constant, without spoiling too much. But it's, we always, in like the act breaks, which I also don't think this is a spoiler because it literally starts the book, is perspective of a corpse.
Yeah, those are my favorites, actually.
Yeah, I mean, they are it again, immediately gripping. And I don't know if you say you've listened to a few episodes. There's a couple different people who have called out specifically those chapters in this book, which is one of the reasons.
Wow, thank you.
They're just like, it's immediately like this incredible juxtaposition of utter tragedy, right, and sadness and grotesquerie, but with very, very gorgeous, intricate prose, and that it immediately you're like, I was like, what do I do with this? And that of these interstitial chapters with this corpse's perspective into our perspective characters. Did this book always look like this? Was that structure always there of like bouncing back and forth? And did you have this all in mind? Did it come together slowly, or?
So it was always definitely the the corpse and the victims, the serial killer victims.
Right.
And then it kind of came together that I was like, I really want to write about domestic violence since I'm a survivor of domestic violence. And so it's really important to me. And so it came together pretty quickly that it was going to be like that. I love writing lots of different POVs and stuff. So I tend to do that.
Okay. It's always like, it's always, I don't know, when you're on the outside looking in, you're always like the idea of, oh, we're going to start with a corpse and then bounce to a main character and then bounce to, the, I guess, the slasher, the more typical slasher idea, like, oh, we follow a victim and we watch them get killed. Even though I feel like you do play with like an omniscient POV, because it feels like it bounces between the killer and the victims at times. But it's always like on the outside looking in, I'm like, I'm trying to piece. I'm like, the writer brain is always like, where did she start? Right? Where did it build out from? Like, how did, like, I say the same things about sometimes what I write. I'm like, I don't know how it just all came to me in a flash. I knew I wanted this, and that it worked in that way. So I think tied together leading off of those questions, the multiple perspectives, there is, it's not a mystery per se. The book is not a mystery per se, but there are mysteries going on that are more, I think, subtle, and like you are intrinsically going, well, who's this corpse, right? And it's not,
Yeah.
and the story is not about who we're solving. It's about Birdie's survival, really. But there is these like background mysteries of like, well, who's this corpse? Is it Birdie? Are we watching, like, is it gonna be like, there's this in this, it creates immediate tension.
Mhm.
And obviously there's a killer, and we're like, who's the killer? And that's not, again, Birdie isn't trying to solve murders,
No, she's just
but
trying to live her life.
she's just trying to, man, she's just trying to make do. But you, the reader, are like, who the killer is. Were you, as you were working, were you concerned about this, like the mystery elements of it, of like, well, who's this and who's that? Were you trying to, like, were you feathering that tension of like, oh, well, I want this to at a certain point I was like, is she playing a trick on me? Is this gonna be
I've heard that a lot.
okay? Yeah, like I was like, it felt like there was like phases as I was reading it where I was like, oh, I know what this is. Oh, I'm on board, but I'm like, oh, I understand it. Like, I don't know, I see the shape of it. Again, the writer brain, where I see the shape of it, I'm like, well, let's see it play out. Let's see how she, like, what, twists and turns. But then I'm like, wait a minute. There's a certain point where an alarm bell went off. I'm like, is she playing a trick on me? Is there like other things going on? Is this killer not going to be the killer I think it is? Things like that. Were you conscious of all those stuff as you were writing it? Is that stuff that came through in revisions as you were like, oh, we need to feather clues, red herrings, things like that at all?
Funny enough, I personally didn't really intend the killer to be a mystery, and it's
Okay.
funny to me that it's been about half and half of the readers that have talked to me about whether they were like, "Yeah, I knew from the beginning," versus people who were like, "Oh, I started thinking maybe this, and I started thinking maybe this," and like not, and I think that's really fun. Actually, I didn't intend to do that. I think that makes for an interesting read for some people, but I also feel like it shouldn't feel like, oh man, I already figured it out, because that was kind of what I intended. So don't be bummed if it's like
No.
a
No, I
mystery.
mean, it's not, again, it's not a mystery, like, but it is, I think there's elements that, like, I don't know, there's people ask me about a book and I go, of one of my books, and I go, it's not a mystery, but there's a mystery in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you do. Yeah. And I kind of think it's fun that people see some certain little clues towards different people. And when they've told me that, as they were like, live reacting to me as they were reading, that's fun. I love that. Like, honestly, that's the best part about being a writer, is having people read it and then give you their experience, because it's different from how I saw it, where I obviously knew everything from the beginning.
Yeah, there's no mystery in it to you.
Yeah.
You're just like,
Yeah.
yo, I know exactly what happens.
Yeah.
But I mean, well, I mean, that's the thing where I started out like going immediately. I know, okay, I know who the killer is. I know what we're watching. This is upsetting. And then, but then I'm like, wait a minute. There's enough time went by where I'm like, is she playing a trick on me where I'm like, oh, I fall into this trap and now I'm second guessing myself. And then you're like, no, I was right the first time.
Yeah.
I should just rely on that. And I mean, it is, I don't know, part of the joy of the book, I feel like, is the fact that, again, there is mystery in it, but it still carries a story of domestic abuse and domestic violence and abuse and cycles
Mhm.
of abuse. And that's next question. Okay, so I don't know if this is what other people have told you, but like there are scene like not half the chapters, but a good chunk of the chapters are we're watching victims of a serial killer get killed,
Mhm.
and none of those chapters upset me. It's all the I don't know what it like. Maybe it's because I know intrinsically, oh, there's going to be bad stuff happening in this
Yeah.
chapter because it's not Birdie. But then I go the Birdie chapter is the most. It's like I don't know. I was thinking it felt like Hereditary to me.
Oh,
Where
wow, what a compliment. That's, like, one of my
well,
very favorite movies.
I mean, Hereditary is incredible, but the stuff in Hereditary that upsets me is not the supernatural demon stuff.
Yeah,
It is those family scenes in the
yeah.
first hour where they are
Oh,
just horrible to each other, and I'm like, "Ugh." And this is a different tack, but there is a lot of abuse. Frankly, this is what we're watching. We're watching Russ effectively abuse Birdie, and Birdie trying to navigate her feelings and her, the trauma
yeah.
that she's endured and all that. Were you concerned at all about, oh, this is too much? This is going to turn people away. Were you feathering violence and or not even the violence? And sure, like a lot of it is threats of violence. A lot of it is like very kind of insidious, stuff where it's like it's not physical, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't cross the line into actual violence, but it can be just as damaging and terrible. Were you concerned about that as you're writing it? Were you feathering it in all at all? Or were you just like, well, this is what needs to be right here?
So, I was actually more concerned whenever I first wrote before beta readers read it, that because he wasn't as physical, that people weren't going to think of him as abuser enough, because a lot of it is based on things that either I or close people I know have actually endured. And I was like, oh no, are people going to do that whole like it's not really abuse? But I was relieved that people were like, no, he's like such an asshole, he's so disturbing, like. And so I actually was like, wow, I didn't need to even amp it up at all, you know. I felt like I was trying really hard to make it realistic, and
Right.
so I'm glad that it definitely hits that way. And actually, I definitely, for some people, I would be like, if you are a victim of domestic violence, like this might not be a book you want to read because it could be extremely triggering. But I've also had a
Mm.
lot of people feel it's very cathartic, which it was for me as well, to like get that out, because a lot of it for me was also writing that I feel like a lot of the stories about abuse, the victims are like kind of like perfect, and they, the whole story is about them getting up and leaving finally.
Yeah.
And I wanted to show that it's so much more complicated than that, because there's so much self-loathing that develops whenever someone is breaking you down mentally all the time. And sometimes people feel like they deserve it even though they don't, because they feel like, oh, I'm a bad person because of XYZ. And so I really wanted to show that part of it, because I feel like that's a big reason why it's so hard to leave. Like people do say like, why don't you just leave? And it's like, well, at some point it feels like you can't, because it feels like this is what you are supposed to have happen to you.
Yeah. I mean, I, I find it, I think that ambiguity is partially what is so affecting in the story. The fact that it's almost simpler. Oh yeah, he's demonstrably physically abusive. You should leave. Like
Yeah.
it's that. Oh, that's so simple. But there is this again. I don't know. I still felt very bad for. I felt like poor Purdy. I'm like, oh
I
my god.
love Birdie.
I
I
know.
know.
Poor Purdy. But it is that. I think that's the kind of insidious thing, and I think anyone who's known people who've been in these situations, you I think benefit from that experience and benefit from that understanding of like, no, a lot of the times it does not, it's invisible.
Yeah.
It's these things you can't see. And the book to it does that very well where it really affects. Again, I was like, ugh. A lot of times where, and it's all the scenes where it's just, we're, the hot and cold,
Yeah.
back and forth of, I hate you, you're worst, oh, I love you, you're the best.
Yeah. The love bombing. Yeah.
Right. There's
Right.
the manipulation, like that psychological manipulation of people. And all those things are like, I think more upsetting and affecting than what I, at least for me, where I was like, oh, well, because I read horror all the time and I'm desensitized to a lot of physical violence, it's more of that very subtle, like, manipulation stuff that really hurt my heart. Which, hey, you should go read this book, guys.
Well, actually, I feel like the killer chapters are also they were really some of them were really scary for me to write because they are also fears that a lot of especially women face,
Yes.
which is, being stalked or like how do you react because you don't want to like the whole thing is you can't just tell guys sometimes like fuck off. Sorry, I don't know if I can cuss.
You curse all you want. This is
Okay.
this is a podcast for adults.
Okay. But, like, sometimes people are like, "Oh, just tell that guy, 'fuck off, leave me alone.'" And it's like, it's not always safe feeling to
No,
do that.
no.
And so the way that they're approaching these situations and also I'm just really personally terrified of home invasion. I think home invasion is, like, one of the scariest, like, horror tropes. And so
Yeah.
I think that those scenes were probably scarier for me but I'd also kind of lived a lot of Birdie's scenes, so I was like,
Right.
"Well."
Well, I mean, I think it not to say that those scenes aren't effective. It's more, uh, I think it is. They are a stark reminder to me as a dude who can walk down the street. And sure, there are times where I'd be concerned, like, oh, am I in danger? Most of the time, no. It's not a thing I think about because of what I look like and who I am and how I've lived and where I'm from and all those myriad of social things. But it is a reminder to men that there is this completely alien experience that women experience where they and like, I don't know, I live in a relatively safe place, but there are still times where a woman got attacked at 4 a.m.
Mhm.
by someone, and they're like, why would you? I would never be worried about it, but there's always that risk, there's always that concern. And I think that the fact that all these, some of these women don't think about it, they think they're perfectly safe, and then some women are, in these chapters, are very concerned about it, and it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a difference at all.
And I've really loved hearing that feedback actually from the male readers of this book is that they were like, oh, I haven't really thought about some of these things because it really is trying to show both the stranger danger women face as well as the even more possible danger of home and like
Yeah.
domestic violence. And so it's really showing, yeah, like a lot of things that I think men don't tend to think about. Yeah.
Never. Not for a long time, at least. Not until I got older and tried to be. I do my best. Try and be cognizant of like, oh, I'm alone on the street with a woman. I'll
Yeah, don't follow her too close.
I'll
Yeah,
I'll
like
go
don't
to the
creep
other.
her
I'll
out.
go to the other. I'll walk to the other side of the street. You know.
That is what
Well,
we would like.
I know exactly. Like, or like just try. Like, dude. I don't know what. Like, there's also like a risk of like, well, I don't want to say something because I'm just gonna scare her. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be
It is
frightening.
hard sometimes to decide what you
I
should do.
don't want to be frightening. Like, but unfortunately, I don't know. I'm not. I feel like I'm less frightening now with the dude with the weird haircut and pink
The pink
hair.
hair,
I
yeah, I
look.
feel like that would help a little bit,
I
yeah.
don't know. But men,
Men in general,
male
though.
predators look all kinds of ways. So you can't.
Oh,
It's not. Which I know. I'm like, again, trying to be cognizant. That's all you can be. I was I really I can't emphasize enough how beautiful I think my last question really is about that. Is about this beautiful prose around the corpse. And then I don't know, it's I wouldn't call it like I don't know, people use the word like purple a lot and I don't they use that as a pejorative and I don't know if people take it as that sometimes, but it
I
there
can be a
is
bit purple.
well, I mean, so I think we all are. I think
I
that's
like
the
to read
thing.
a lot of writers who are very purple, so
Yeah.
I don't really mind.
I mean, I think it depends on the book, it depends on the tone, it depends on a lot of million things. But I feel like there is this very stark difference between those corpse interstitials, and then the other chapters, which feels like the prose is a little bit a little less flowery, a
Mhm.
little more, I don't know, efficient. I don't know. I don't like
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
more colloquial even because it is a lot of times you're just following normal people. Was that like purposeful on your part? Was that like targeted? Like I want to make these really stand out from the rest of the book.
Yes,
Okay.
and it's also so it's been, like, one of my, like, special interests for, like, most of my life is decomposition, and I have done tons of research on it over the years just for fun, and, I mean, someday I would love to be a big enough author that I can ask to go to, like, the body farm and see, like, some real like, with respect, like, obviously, like, these were people who donated, which was a cool thing to do too. Like, but I just think there's this real beauty in the way that animals decompose. And I really, really wanted to have that experience in there. And I think that my love of it really comes through in the prose,
It does.
which is
I mean, is
weird.
this
I know.
it? Well, I mean, it is again incredibly striking. And I there's only so many ways to say the word rot. As a person who's writing a book about with a lot of rot in it right now,
Nice.
and so it's right at the top of my mind.
Yeah.
Oh, you say nice. I mean, you probably would like it if you.
We can if you need to talk rot,
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna
hit
say,
me
but I
up.
mean, I feel like there's always. I don't know. I've mentioned this before. There's these synchronicities where I'm reading books for the podcast where I'm like, oh, this is very helpful for my own personal writing because, like, oh, colors. Oh, this is how I can better illustrate like what is ostensibly like a grotesque and disgusting thing, but make it sound and feel very beautiful. And rot is natural.
Mhm.
It is what we all die. We're all going to die, and we're all going to rot. And it's not, the circumstances of that person's death are awful,
Yes. Yeah.
but but the process itself is normal. It
Yeah,
is
and the
not.
fact that she's not afraid of it because I think I that's what brings the beauty to it because she does find herself conscious in her decomposing corpse,
Yeah.
but she's able to actually appreciate a lot of the details of decomposition because it's not painful or scary, you know?
I mean, I feel like there's also in those chapters, it is Birdie is not given a lot of opportunity to try to dance around spoilers here. Opportunity to process
Mhm.
all the trauma that she has gone through,
Yeah.
and it feels like the corpse chapters give us that catharsis. They
Yeah.
give us this of like, oh, here there's someone, again, mystery of processing what has been done to them, and oh well, now here I am, and I'm finding that where we along with the corpse are finding that catharsis. uh
I love
we
that.
can move on to our next segment. Everyone just I've already said it like 4 times, so everyone should go read Shoot Me in the Face on a Beautiful Day. We can move on to the second act.
Woo.
Woo. Which is broader bookish questions. My first question is from my last guest, Catherine Silva.
Oh, I love her.
She's wonderful. That episode will be out a week next week, I think, if I got my timeline right in my head. And her question
to it.
and her question for you, and I'll ask you for a question for our next guest at the end of this. Do you listen to music while you write? Do you use music as inspiration ever?
So I cannot write unless it is like silent pretty much.
Silent, silent.
Or like, I mean, sometimes there's like, my daughter watching TV or something in the background, but like something I can tune out. But I do love to have playlists and I listen to them whenever I'm like doing chores or driving and stuff. And they tend to have like the vibe of what I'm going for. But my problem is I just can't write while I'm listening to music. That my brain just doesn't work that way. Like, and
Yeah.
so I definitely do have playlists and love to use music for inspiration. It's actually a really important part of like the first draft process for me. But yeah, but I'm kind of envious of people that have these playlists that they actually listen to while they're writing because I've tried, and even like instrumental music and stuff, I just can't. It messes me
Yeah.
up. Like,
I can listen to stuff without lyrics.
oh yeah,
Sometimes.
definitely not lyrics. I'll start writing the lyrics.
No,
Like
exactly. I
100%.
can't I can't focus on the words. I'm mostly, if I listen to anything, it's mostly just noise, like noise, like a droning. I have a sound. There's
That
a.
sounds terrible.
I mean, it's
Groanings.
no, it's just like it's called black hole is the name of the
Okay.
sound.
That sounds
It's
scary.
my noise. I mean, it kind of is. I mean, but it is also very loud and not distracting. It just kind of blacks out every other thing in my life. I just have that in my head. I can listen to like also music with lyrics that are unintelligible sometimes.
I don't feel
So
like that would no, I couldn't do that.
death metal or hardcore stuff with people shouting. That can sometimes is okay if I'm focused enough. Depends. Um, I'm gonna give you a new question. I haven't used on everybody else yet. Do
Scary.
you ever? It's not a scary question at all. Unless, well, we'll see. Do you use semicolons in your drafts?
I do, and I always worry I'm using them wrong.
Okay.
But
All
I
right.
love them, and, like, I definitely always have my agent and editors double check because I am like, "Oh, is this right?" Because I feel like it's all sometimes I'm like, I know what the rules are, but sometimes I'm still like, "Does this work or not?" But I do love semicolons. I think
Okay. All right.
they're also very
I found
expensive,
you.
like
I found the semicolon person.
you don't
That's
like
really,
semicolons?
I just don't use them. I
Well,
just never use them. I use commas like crazy. I use em dashes like crazy. I just don't use semicolons. I just don't reach for them. I don't know why.
they have a different feel in the punctuation, like, and so
You're right, and
need
maybe I should add them into my toolbox and I'll say this. Maybe because this topic has come up on the podcast, I threw one in the other day. So I don't. Again, I
proud
have
of
no
you.
idea. I have no. Thank you. I have no idea if I used it right though. Just like you said, I'm
Well,
like this feels right, and I do know
draft,
the rules
yeah.
just like you do. But it still is like, is this? I think that's the nature of semicolons. They feel mysterious. They're like, is this? I know it's effectively just a period, a fancy, very fancy
Yeah,
period, but okay.
yeah.
Um,
It has to feel right
it
in
does have to.
yeah,
I think that's a feel is a part of it, where it's just like again, it's that we have these limited punctuation to work with, so we have to. I should I should use more of them, but I feel like a little goes a long way with
I'm gonna be
semicolons.
looking for them in your writing now.
I think anyone has been added after the fact, and like in revisions, I will pepper one in when
Okay.
appropriate.
You're like, "There
But
has to be a semicolon
well, I
somewhere."
mean, it feels like, oh, this is a break here. This is
Yeah.
perfect time for it. Let me remove one of my 10,000 commas and
Yeah.
put a semicolon
It
in.
does help with the cutting down on commas a little bit.
That's if you want to talk about a
I love
problem.
commas,
I mean, I love believe my beloved, my my
Same.
beloved, my comma. Um, who's a writer more people should be reading?
Ooh, okay.
And give
So,
as many as you like.
all right. One of them is Charlene Elsby. I am always shocked whenever people have not read her, honestly. Like, I think she is so brilliant. I genuinely love, like, all of her stuff so much, and so definitely her. I'd also say Shelley Levine had, Enamored come out this year, and not enough people are freaking reading it. Like, it is so good, and it is not what I usually would read. It's very, like, gothic, erotic, sapphic, like, it's got this, like, kinda BDSM twist to it, and it also is about like the beauty industry and beauty standards,
Ooh, okay.
and yeah, like, and kind of the patriarchy in a way. So, and oh my god, it blew me away. It's like told in like these three interconnecting stories, and it's just so beautiful, and just oh my god, it just tore out my heart. I feel like I cannot believe people are not reading it. I feel like I'm recommending it all the time, and they are such an amazing author. Definitely Shelley Levine. And also Ivy Grimes, because I kind of can't believe that Ivy isn't bigger than she is, because she is a master of prose. Her short story collection, Glass Stories, I don't know why it's not bigger. Those are so beautiful. They all have glass featured in them, but they're also different. And she has this really cool surrealist way. And then I also got to read Ghost of Blaubart a Mansion early, and that book was not like something I would also typically pick up, but then it, because it's like a kind of a retelling of Bluebeard, but in a very different, unique way. And it is not only just amazing, but it was so funny. Like, it's, which is not what I was really
I,
expecting.
I was
Like,
gonna say, when you said the word Bluebeard, I'm like, first thing that comes to mind is not comedy. I
I
don't go,
mean,
oh,
there are
that's
definitely some
hilarious.
dark aspects of it,
Okay.
but it's got this very, like, magical realism, fairy tale kind of feel about it, and it's also just really fucking funny. Like, there's this one character, I don't wanna spoil it too much, but there's this one character, he just kills me. Like, there's this thing he does at the end, and I'm oh my god, it's amazing. Like, it's so weird. I love it. You guys should definitely read it.
I will I'll put links to all this, links to this in the show notes. I'll do my
Okay.
best. Um, let's see. What is a practice that helps keep your writing momentum going?
Well, I do try to write every day, except for in between projects. I give myself a break. So, but I'm not like Stephen King. I'm not gonna write on like fucking Christmas Day or whatever. Like,
does, does Stephen King actually write? Because he said that he
and
writes
he
on
says
Christmas.
that, like, I don't know. Who knows?
I
I don't
don't
know if I
know.
believe a lot of the things he said.
I mean, I do believe that he writes routinely,
Oh, I mean,
of
he
course,
put out so
but
many books. He has
yes,
to be writing
yes,
that much. Like,
but on Christmas it feels,
yeah,
and I don't
he,
know.
like,
There's
never takes a break really, but
I mean it's the grind mindset of, I don't know, when you're that, I guess if I also hit big and suddenly my books are bestsellers, I would not stop. You know,
I
I
don't
would
think I
push.
would
I
write more than I already do.
Yeah,
You
exactly. I
know,
think
I
that's
think
the
that I would
thing.
stay about the same, which is around like 2 novels a year. So 1 to 2 a year. And I feel like that's a good pace, honestly, you know?
I mean, I think it's, you have to find your pace, your what the balance of like, well, I don't want to work myself to death, and
Yeah.
I want to make, I want to be relatively prolific. You know, I want to
Yeah.
make
And
work and make work I'm proud of.
we only have so many years that we can write. And
Yeah.
so that's the hardest part, is having so many cool ideas and being like, "Oh my god, I can probably only write so many books." Just like I saw a thing not that long ago that was like, this is like the max amount of books basically you can read in your lifetime. And I forget how many it was, but it just wasn't enough. Like, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to read every book I want to read. And so it's just, I think that kind of drives me, because I'm like, I got to write some more of these before I die. But at the same time, I have been better about actually giving myself breaks, because I realized at one point I hadn't seen like any movies, I hadn't played any games, I hadn't done anything, like obviously so I'm like a stay-at-home mom, so I spend time with my daughter and I write. And I realized I wasn't doing anything like really for myself outside of that, and I was like, ugh, I need to spend more time doing things that are fun, like
Yeah,
writing's
fun
fun,
is,
but it's also work.
yeah, there is, it's, that's a hard thing about it, is that I feel like we are all compelled to like, because it drives us, we have to keep writing somehow, some way, but also like it will kill you if you
Yeah.
just do only that. You will lose your mind. You'll burn
Well,
yourself out.
and you need time to kind of like absorb new ideas and new inspirations and stuff. And I think that that is something I've been trying to give myself more time for, is that like not just reading books, but seeing movies and playing games and things. Because I think that sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, like this is really like making me, giving me that spark back, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's and that's what you need, like to fuel the next idea, and you
Yeah.
can't have it unless you go for a walk, or go
Definitely
watch
that
a movie.
go outside. I
Yeah,
have
go touch
really
grass.
hard to go outside more and hike and stuff, and it definitely helps a lot. So,
Um, when do you know something is done?
oh my god, it's hard. It's honestly hard, like to say when something is done. Sometimes it's kind of like I'm just sick of it.
That's my answer.
Yeah, because I feel like there are definitely I could go back and fix like everything I've ever published basically and make it even stronger, I feel, but I could do that forever. And so at some point you have to move on. And also sometimes I wonder if I'm actually weakening it sometimes by redoing things over and over again. And so I'll have to step back. And I mean, I also what helps me is like beta readers telling me, you know, their opinion, because that usually helps me kind of know whether it's done or not. Because if they're like, okay, this is all working except for like this part, versus like, okay, we need to do like a restructure here, you know?
Right. I mean, it's the. Are you just moving furniture around? Are you not? Are
Yeah,
you?
exactly. Yeah.
Is it making it better? Is it just making it different?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think a lot of people don't. I'm I my answer is when I hate it is when I'm done. I can't do when
Yeah.
I literally can't look at it anymore.
I
All right,
mean,
it's done. I'm
relatable.
not. Yeah, I can't do this anymore. I can't. I've moved commas.
No,
I've
and
erased
you're
enough
like, I want to
commas.
write something else. Like,
Yes,
I
exactly. Revisions is so hard. Line editing is so hard. Um, what was your gateway horror media?
hmm. I mean, I definitely was like a Goosebumps kid. I was like a Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark kid. Um,
Same.
I also read like the complete works of Edgar Allan Poe when I was in like 3rd grade, and I was just obsessed with him. So I feel like that was like part of my like gateway.
Pose Pose that a lot of people's first horror book
Yeah,
or horror
yeah,
stories
like, I mean,
that
he
are
was
adult
yeah.
stories, not just Goosebumps.
Yeah, and, like, I think that they the dread he's able to really weave in there, like, you know, of, like, the cat getting, like, stuck in behind the wall with you and stuff, you
Yeah,
know, like, or, like, the raven, like, he's so ominous, you know, like, I think that that was really it kinda planted that horror didn't have to be just jump scary, I think,
right.
you know, and that it was, like, this slow dread that I still love so much.
Yeah, yeah. I honestly can't tell you what my first adult horror novel was. I don't think I can remember it because I read Goosebumps and Scary Stories, Tell in the Dark, and all that stuff.
Those
But
amazing.
they're great.
Yeah.
Which are
I
great.
still love those, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, I have the Scary Stories
I do
collection over
too.
there. That
Yeah,
the art is
love the
that
illustration.
I've
Yeah,
said it on the podcast before, but I really want that. I'd love to commission that artist to do something for me, but
that'd be a dream.
I want how much money do I have? Um, yeah. Let's see. I'll do one more question. Um, what's the best piece of advice you followed?
Um, hmm, probably to not listen to that voice that's so self-critical while you're writing and just keep going, because although I do revise as I go. I'm one of those people, like, I cannot help it. Like, I'm not just, I'll just vomit it all out and then fix it later. I will tweak it. But I think I never would have finished a novel if I hadn't been able to tell myself, like, "You know what? There's some things you can fix in post," you know?
Yeah.
Like, and just keep going. And also to just find your own way because like I write my novels completely out of order. I just write whatever scene is really calling to me at a time. And then eventually usually I find which scenes then oh, I need to have something that connects these and stuff. And so that works for me. And when I first had tried to write a novel, the first couple times I approached it, I tried to just start at the beginning and write straight through and it was just never working for me. And so you just have to find what works for you.
Right. You use semicolons and you write books out of order.
I
You're the
can
first
never
people.
write in order. It
I
it was
mean,
I get stuck.
again,
Like
I think there is I I've done writing seminars for newbies, beginners, and I'm always like, well, here's accepted practices where you write from beginning to end, you keep moving, don't stop.
yeah.
And I'm like, there are people who edit as they go and like completely, some even completely edit as they go.
Oh, yeah,
Like
that's
when
crazy.
they're done writing, they're done. Like
I
they've
am envious of that.
that
That's
is
like,
crazy to
yeah,
me. That is
it's just
impossible.
done, like, yeah.
I was gonna say when you actually hit when you go the end, it literally is the end. I'm like, that's I can't imagine that. But there is the sometimes you have to take the advice, but they're also like, well, this isn't working.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
if
gonna
it's
beat
not
my I'm
working,
not gonna beat my head against the wall.
yeah, try something different. Like,
Yeah.
try something. And, yeah, and also, yeah, I think that, like, for instance, some people love, like, Save the Cat, and some people are like, "Oh, that's, like, the bane of my existence." And so it's like, like, try different things and find what you like, because that's all that matters is that you write the story you wanna tell and that you enjoy doing it and that it's not, like, pulling teeth. Because, like, for me, writing a story from beginning to end straight like that would be, like, torture.
I mean, it's I mentioned Save the Cat before. There's no cat saved in Shoot Me in the Face on Beautiful Day, by the way. Zero cats saved. The story works
But
great.
it's not so animal cruelty like crushing snails, though. Some people
No, exactly. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it has to be tactical. Everything has to be like for the story. Does it serve the story? And if it does, then it's good. If it doesn't, then you don't. Do you need to save a cat? Does your hero need to be likable? Do you need to get
I
people on
say,
your
like, never.
well, I mean, that's the thing. He doesn't. No, it doesn't. Your
I
hero doesn't.
love a
Depending on
gray, morally gray protagonist.
morally great
That's,
protagonist, yeah.
like, the best, you know?
You can do that. There's plenty of great stories with heroes that you love, right? But also, you don't need to. You can if you want. What's your question for our next guest?
Um, I want it to be, what's the hardest scene or character that you've had to write, and what made it so difficult?
Oh boy, that's a good question.
Oh, I think you don't think it's too mean, right? Like
No, I love it. I don't care about
well, I care. I don't want someone to be like, "Thanks a lot, Emma." I
Caitlin.
think that's an interesting question that I would love to hear, like, every writer tell me, honestly.
I will tell you right now. I'm adding this question to my list of questions. It's so
Hell
that's a very good. That's a good question. That's what I like. That's what this podcast is about. It's called Blood on the Typewriter. And speaking of, we can move on to our final segment. It's time. It's time for blood. It's time for trouble. It's time for struggles, nuts and bolts, ethos, philosophical questions, whatever they may be. What do you got?
So, one thing that I have been struggling with actually in several works I've tried to do is sometimes you have a story and I just worry I'm not a good enough writer to tell it. Like, I'm like, "Ugh, I kinda wish, like, Harlan Ellison or somebody was writing this instead of me," like, and
that's that's well. I have some bad news for you.
I
Uh,
I know,
about Harlan
right?
Ellison.
I know.
Sorry.
Maybe I can channel him.
I mean,
But I think that that's honestly one of the hardest things for me is that as I've grown, I think I'm telling more and more complicated stories, and sometimes I just worry that it's not going to be how I see it being, and that can kind of I don't usually get block, but it gives me almost like a kind of block whenever I'm feeling like, is this really working? Or is this just not because sometimes it can feel good, but not good enough. And I don't know, that's just hard. It's a hard thing to come to terms with. And it's like,
When you have
I
an
don't know.
answer,
Yeah,
you
I
tell
don't
me. I mean, I think we all battle with that. It's that the doubt of, I think it's certainly a thing you face early on, but that's more because you don't know anything.
Yeah.
And then now it's, you know enough, you're like, well, I'm published and I'm read and I feel like I'm in the industry, right? I am a writer, I am an author, but am I good enough? Like, can
Yeah.
I tap it? Especially, and I think like as you do it more, I think naturally reach for grander ideas and
Yes.
bigger story, like not even bigger meaning like more epic, but bigger, harder things that are like harder to communicate and to feel the way you want them to.
That is exactly what it is for me because yeah, like I feel like some stories where are just like I don't know, they're easier for me to tell. Like and then I have these few ideas that I really want to write and then it's just making sure that they come across the way that I want them to because it will feel like a wasted idea almost if they don't come out the way I want, you know? But I think my solution really is to just keep reading and trying, you know?
Yeah. I mean, there is always like oh, well, what are stories that are like this out there?
Yeah.
Try and find them, read them, see what those people did. Or if you are lucky enough, you can talk to them, be like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm trying to do something like this. Help. What do I do? I mean, I don't know, there's doubt. You have doubt intrinsically. And like the doubt changes over
Yeah.
time, but there's always gonna be a doubt. And I don't know, keep going. Don't stop. Just keep trying. I mean, a lot of times I feel like it's uh if you I don't know, I think I brought this up at some point, but I didn't come up with this. Someone told me this at some point, but it's like if a year goes by and you go back and read the thing you were worried about, are you going to remember or know that I had this doubt about this scene, that it hit hard enough, that it did enough? Are you going to remember that? A year? That's a long time. You're probably going to write other words in between. Are you, it's that, that, the immediacy of it and not, and I think I certainly get in my own head where I'm like, I need this to feel like this.
Yeah. Yes.
And if it doesn't immediately do that, then you're like, oh well, no, I failed. I've,
Yes.
I've, I'm bad.
But what makes it worth keep going is whenever you do write a scene and you're like, "Oh, yeah, that was, like, exactly it." Like, that's the best. Maybe it's not, like, the best thing ever written, but you feel like you really conveyed exactly how you wanted it to be, and, I mean, that doesn't that's pretty rare, but, like, I'm like, "Hell yeah," whenever it really hits that way. Like, there's a scene at almost the very end of Shoot Me in the Face on a Beautiful Day that I feel like really hits in this really cathartic, like, painful kind of way, and I was really proud of writing that one, actually.
I mean, that's the thing where like and that propels you
Yeah.
because you can do it.
Yeah, and you're like, "Yeah, hell yeah." Maybe I'm not, like, a shitty writer.
You're
'Cause,
not.
like, no, we
Hey,
all we all
yeah,
have
you're
that
not
problem, you know?
Emma. You're not a shitty writer.
Thank you, I
You're
appreciate
very good. You're a very good writer. I don't know. I feel like I'm also like, I don't know. I think most people that I've interviewed, I think are very good writers. I think it's a matter of writing is so personal,
Yes.
and books things like you again. It's like in Stephen. Hey, bring up Stephen King again. He wrote one. It's like long time travel and telepathy at the same time, where you're like talking to someone over time and space, and
Mhm.
sometimes that voice is not what you want in your head, and it doesn't mean the person's a bad writer. It just
Yeah,
means that you don't vibe. I would also say that I think honestly, when you say that, oh, I find these places where I have doubt if I can write it the right way, the way I want it to be. I think that is a good place to be, because it means you're challenging yourself. You're wanting to do more and reach to that next thing just on skill and craft. And I would say it's better to be there all the time.
That's true, but it's also hard.
Yes, it is hard. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It's
There's a
crazy to
I
do
faced
that.
this. I mean, it's maybe it's just because it's on top of my mind where I was like outlining. I didn't know what I wanted to write next. I had all these different ideas, and I started outlining stuff, and I'm started working on stuff, and I'm like, I can do this. I had an idea, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I can do this, easy. And it felt like a lot of things had already written, and
Mm,
I'm like, well, I know I can do this. Why am I doing it if I can just do it again? Like
yeah.
and like is it just because I think the idea is cool and it probably will sell? Or I know that people will be interested in it. I'm like, well, yeah, maybe it's some of it. And then the minute I went to a different idea, I went, oh, this is gonna be this is gonna be impossible. How do I do this? But I was excited about it
Yeah, that's you should
because
always write that one that you're excited about.
exactly.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
I think a part of the excitement was like, oh, it's gonna challenge me. And it's
Yeah.
going to make me do something that's uncomfortable or make me write a different style or push perspective or structure like this book like again like the myriad of structure the way the book's laid out like it's that where you're like I'm reaching for another new thing and let no matter what level you are I feel like to be a better writer you're going to always be trying to do that reach for the next hardest thing I think there's a tendency for us to be like, yeah, it's hard. I don't. It's so hard. Writing is so hard, guys. I don't know if y'all understand.
But it's also so fun. It really is
Yes,
so hard. It's such
it's
a weird
so
thing to
hard.
tell people
It's
that
so
aren't
difficult.
writers, 'cause yeah, it's like, "Oh, it's, like, so hard to get myself to sit down and do it," but at the same time, it's, like, my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, there's no way to like. It's very like other artists understand to a certain degree. People work in other mediums, but it's still like there's nothing so like it's so laborious and so tiring and so like
Yeah,
of
and so
making
much of it is just in your head too. It's just, like, staring at, like, a blank Word document and being like, "Okay,
have to fill
and
this up.
how am I gonna show this in a way that works?" You know?
Right. But I mean, I feel like being on that precipice of constantly I don't know. I feel like that's a way to make your writing better and how to make work that I think especially with you where your work is like seeking I feel like your work is purposely trying to challenge people. Like it is reaching and like I feel like you in particular are that's where you should live as hard as it is where because it's like that's it I think people have attached themselves to your writing and to your work because it's transgressive and it's challenging and I feel like with the territory comes like oh no I don't know how to communicate this idea to a reader and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, my stuff is definitely uncomfortable, like
Yeah, but I mean that's why we're here. I don't know this that's the name of the game.
yeah,
For at least for me
well, that's what I
I
like to read, so it's gonna
I
be
mean,
whatever
I'm
I
not against occasionally like something very comfy,
Oh, yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to or else
but I
your
mean,
mental health
my
will
comfy
suffer.
is also like it might just be a little less horrifying horror. It might be a horror, or it might be like a Stephen King, a classic of like it might
Yeah.
be Dean Koontz Phantoms. I maybe go read Phantoms again because it's like it's comfy, like it's a horror I know, so something like that. I don't know. I don't. I tried to read a cozy book this year for a book club. I couldn't do it.
You
I couldn't
couldn't?
get it. Well, there's just it wasn't enough. I said this. I think I said this on I think I said this on Catherine Silva's episode where like I need sandpaper. I need conflict.
I do like that, but I do
Yeah.
think that reading also in various genres actually helps you a lot with horror
Yeah.
because sometimes, like I mean, there's some genres I just don't dip into enough, which I probably should because I've had people tell me things like, "You should read romance, like, and see what it's like," and I'm like, "I haven't really read any romances except some of the classics," you know?
Yeah.
But, like, I love a lot of, like, lit fic and sci-fi, and sometimes whenever because I do read a lot of horror, and whenever I read something outside of horror, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I can bring this into horror," you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Like
I mean, a large. I mean, I do read. I read romance. I read everything, but I mean, it's more the like when people describe something as cozy, and it feels like a lot of times it's just like this. Just feels like I'm sipping a tea.
well,
and I don't.
People have different tastes, and
I'm not saying it's bad.
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
just saying it's there. I mean, a lot of these books. This book is like a million bestseller. Like it doesn't need whatever I say about it doesn't matter. It's more of just my own personal,
Yeah,
whatever. Um, I'm a maniac. I've said that before. I'm an utter
I am
crazy
also a
person. Yeah.
maniac.
I give books to people. I'm like, I love this book, and they read it, and they're like, Robbie, I couldn't finish that book. It's too mean.
I have definitely done that where I think of a book as not that bad, and then people read it and they're like, "Oh my god," I was like crying, I was gonna throw up, and I'm like, "I didn't think that one was that
No, I
bad."
I didn't have. I mean, I thought it was good and really
Yeah,
compelling.
I'm like, someone be like, "Oh, I can't really take, too much gore," and I'll be, "Okay, this one's fine." And then they'll be like, and I'm like, "Okay, I didn't know what your threshold was apparently."
No, it's hard to nowadays, especially with I don't know prevalence of extreme horror, where to us it feels like we know what it is. I feel like we have people read horror regularly, horror, like understand like a more complete spectrum. But people who never read horror or read like read one or two books a year, you give them something that's not quite, it's not there, but it's more in the middle somewhere, and they'll be like, "Oh, this is too rough," and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I guess I'm completely desensitized. I can't feel anything anymore unless it is ripping off my skin."
Right. Well, that's also like I had one of my good friends who only really reads like lit fic and like historical things, read Earthlings. And I hadn't
Oh
really
no.
thought about how devastating. And then thankfully she liked it. But like I was
Okay.
like, oh fuck, that book is like that's a rough end.
Yeah, that yes.
I
I'm
love it though. I love that book.
well, shout out to Earthlings to anyone who hasn't read Earthlings. Maybe don't start with that. That's where I would say like
Yeah.
ease your way into Earthlings. I feel like that's a problem sometimes where people just jump immediately to the deep end of like, I'm gonna go read Aaron Beauregard. I'm gonna read Earthlings. I'm like, work your way towards that. Start. Take baby steps. Get your feet wet, and then maybe go for a dive. We're out of time, Emma.
Yay.
Yeah, yay.
This was really fun.
Um, before we go, tell people where they can find your books, where they can find you online.
So my books are available all the places you can buy books online. I have a website, emmaemurray.com, and you can find me on Instagram at emmaemurray _ because there was already an Emma E. Murray apparently. But like and I mean I'm on like TikTok and stuff, but you can find all those links on my website. So and also like if people there's like a contact form on my website. I love hearing from readers. So even if you hated it, as long as you're not like giving me like a death threat, like feel free to write me something. And so I mean I like to hear what people think.
I please only send me the compliments. I don't want to hear.
I mean, I prefer compliments.
Okay.
But I mean, I definitely think that readers are allowed to have whatever
Oh
opinion
yeah, of
they
course.
want.
I
And
don't. Yeah,
same with like
that's perfectly fine.
with Goodreads, I try not to read my reviews too much, and every once in a while I do, and usually it doesn't bother me, but every once in a while one hurts my feelings, but it's like still like, you know what? That's that person's opinion, and they are
Yeah,
100%
you're.
entitled to it.
I think I've made my opinion about Goodreads known, but I stay off of it. I don't.
That's the way to be.
Okay.
I
Okay.
have been a lot better about it because I
I
was like, do I need to be hurting my own feelings? No.
I meet people who are like super into Goodreads in person, and I'm like, why are y'all so mean? Why are y'all so
I
mean?
don't think they think about how it will make writers. I don't think they think about writers reading the reviews, to be honest, which is how it should be. I don't think
No,
they
but I
should
mean,
be
like
grading
I
your
I
reviews.
I have said this is that we're just on a tangent in the last minute of this podcast, but I've said it feels like a competition to be the meanest they can be when they don't like
Oh,
something.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like, I am perfectly fine with people expressing their honest opinion about a book, whatever they loved it or hated it. That's perfectly fine. But when you're like, oh well, I need to be meaner to this book than the next person. I need to be tactical. I need like feels like they are writing like a roast. Like I'm like,
yeah,
why are
I
you
don't
putting
like
this much effort into roasting not just my books, but any books I think are masterpieces? I was just reading something. I reread John Langan's The Fisherman recently,
that.
and I love that book. And then I read some reviews of it. I shouldn't have, and I went, Okay. I mean, I get it. Either they're not necessarily being that mean, but it feels like very much like I don't okay, I'm sorry. I
No, but
get it.
that's what helps me is if I read, like, a mean review of my stuff, I'll go and find a book I absolutely love and read some of the
That's
bad
true.
things, and I'm like, "Okay, some people are just haters." Because, like, if it's a book that to me is like, you cannot say something bad about it, and there's gonna be some crazy long one-star review about how
Screed.
terrible. Yeah.
I
Um,
hate this book so much. It took time away from me. I'm like, just, and also I think people should just DNF.
I've been working on DNFing more, so I think
Yeah.
that it's just hard, some people, but I wouldn't write a mean review though, so,
No, I wouldn't. Okay.
yeah, but
Now we're like, well, what are we talking about? Um, Emma, it was great having you on the podcast.
thank you
Thank you
so
very
much
much.
for having me.